afternoon. This is Christian Buckley from CollabTalk.
Hello, Chris. This is Michael from KanBo.
We're talking today about streaming work activities to the modern intranet. And I know there's been a lot of discussion out there. I've written a number of articles around kind of the traditional intranet being dead. It's out there. And I really do believe that traditional model of this static intranet environment where good content goes to die, we've moved beyond that model. And certainly if you're paying attention to the roadmap around SharePoint, which is the leading intranet, extranet solution provider out there, the platform of choice, that Microsoft is moving away from that traditional intranet model. And it doesn't mean that an intranet is going away or your need for an intranet is going away. And depending on the size and the working style, the culture of your organization, you decide whether an intranet makes sense for your organization. But what it means is that the data that's captured, how it's captured, and how we access that content is evolving, is changing. And so, Michael, let's talk about KanBo. Do you guys have a traditional intranet?
No, we don't write emails. We haven't been writing emails to each other for more than 5 years, and the intranet is basically, this is KanBo. This is the only place where we put and read information. We start playing with Teams now, but
it's well, and again, that's what we're talking about is when you log in, you have your my company CollabTalk, and have a home page welcome to CollabTalk LLC, and new employees can go to this place. So there's an HR tab, and there's our sales and marketing and engineering sites that are built off of that home page, and where you can get to information. But even in those organizations, large enterprises that have that traditional intranet that need to disseminate information broadly, you've got a number of other ways of doing that for project-based information, customer-based. Microsoft Teams is picking up. I'm using Microsoft Teams within my organization. I'm using KanBo very heavily for the project-based, the work activities that are happening within that. Other organizations do a lot of things out in Yammer, for example. But how we then consume that information back into that traditional intranet model, that's where it's getting interesting, where you have different templates out there, like the communication site templates, which all it's really doing, it's like a modern day RSS feed, where it's taking the active information, that's the new documents and important news and information from each of those areas, and it's surfacing that up. And I know that, so one of the ways that I'm consuming information around the KanBo activities is through the card activities and through that personal news feed. So I'm getting notifications when things that I've created, tasks that I've assigned or that I've been assigned to, when there's a status change, I'm getting a notification. So I'm in consuming information and interacting with the system based on my activities, what I'm going out and doing, and when other people have made activities that I either want to be informed about or when they've assigned things to me, that's coming back to me. And so
exactly.
That's what the modern intranet is. It's more interactive, it's personalized, but it's activity driven.
And there's also one very important element. It is a subscription based model. Yep. So basically, you are in charge of subscribing. Subscribing can be, I am doing a certain activity, or I am writing something into a certain, area. All these things can be interpreted as subscription, but it is, the more stuff you do, the better is the quality of the stream of information you will receive. And just jump back to the old internet. There were a few people that were designing and producing information for many. And
right. They're that publishing model. It's the
exactly publishing, from publishing a newspaper. There are
a newsletter, right?
Yeah, newsletter or newspaper, even in newspaper. There are a few authors writing the newspaper, and millions are reading. and there's no way of saying that, there's no channel back. I mean, the people that are producing the content, they don't have any feedback on if the content is good, if it's engaging and stuff like that. So these are needs of today's workplace, to have back channels of that. And also, like what were people doing with the intranet? First of all, they were searching. So they were searching for documents, of course, holiday approval form, the classics. And of course, there were like departments that they wanted, to introduce themselves. And I've been through so many projects, and everybody wanted to be different, but they were all the same. And it was all about who will actually take care, and who will be producing all the content. And then most of the intranets died because either the content was irrelevant, and I was not going there because I needed to do my work, and I was not finding anything useful. And then I gave it maybe 1, 2, 3 visits. That's it, died. Or it was, very specific, and people were very active there. And then basically, what could be realized is, hey, if we could basically have an own produced content displayed to people that were interested in the content, and then mixed inside some corporate news, that is the best mix that can happen, because people will write about the relevant things for them, and then you can use that stream to also push some corporate news information. And I think the future is the stream in with pictures, with relevant information, and it's the right mix, like the mix between news, community-based driven things, and also a lot of them must come from work. So we at KanBo, we working now at an algorithm that basically allows you to put more volume or put down the volume on certain things, like people, boards, topics. So you giving hints to the system, like what is at this moment more important or less important to you, through really something like a radio, where you just adjusting the volume of something. And this is how KanBo will adjust its stream to your needs. Because, something in your workplace can change, or you change a project, and suddenly something that was not very important to you was very, 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 very quiet, and then you make it louder, and something else you make. So basically, this is the way how we see you can transport to KanBo what's important to you, in order to give you the right not structure, but the right mix of work-related content that you will be interested in.
Well, and I think there's a lot to be learned about how the various social platforms have performed for a number of years. And so, like, whether you're setting up your LinkedIn or a Facebook profile, and you go and you follow certain individuals or certain groups and topics that are out there, that then determines a lot of what that newsfeed, what that that activity that you consume looks like, and so that a group becomes less relevant. You switch projects, and you're like, I'm no longer involved with that. So you turn off or mute that one thread where you might still be in there, but you just say, I don't need to have the notifications in real time like I was before. And the difference here is that when it's your work activities, and the things that you're actively involved in, that algorithm, that logic, the machine learning of the graph, and leveraging the graph, is saying, well, based on this activity, here's what's actually important to me, and I need to see more of these things that I'm actively involved in, and less of the things that I'm passively involved in, but still have permissions to.
So, and you basically nail it. If this stream is showing you information, and if you click on this, you just said, hey, I want to know more. We learn from that. We see, like, what are you interested in? And not only because of content, but also, is it a card that you visit very often and stuff like that. So the whole behavior analysis and then like how you consume the information helps KanBo to basically tune the stream for your needs. But that's only the one part of the story. I mean, this is all work related. But what about the stuff that basically, for example, the corporate wants to let the employees know, and I think having an old school website doesn't work at all. But I also see many websites that look like this modern newspapers and stuff like that. Like if you go to CNN or I don't know, BBC, and I think this is too much. I think having all those little pictures coming up and top stories and stuff like that inside of a company, maybe some will like that. So you need also to have some kind of a strong personalization. But there will be also people that say like, okay, of course, I cannot say that I will not receive like the most important, or let's say the most important news as the management says, like everybody needs to read them. Yeah? But based on my interests and based on my personality and based, how I am, I should be able to really structure the content or structure my landing page when I open my notebook or when I come into the company myself, so it satisfies my needs, and it helps me to get the relevant information, but it should be a stream, so I can also consume it on my mobile device. Because on my mobile device, what's the best natural way of consuming information on a mobile device? It is a stream, and I could also have multiple streams. Like imagine having something like from Twitter, like TweetDeck, and you could have several lanes like lists, and in there you would have information to things that really interest you, like about a person or about a certain topic, or about a project or whatever, and it will be all in one screen. And of course, one stream can be more important, and you say like, okay, on this stream I want to get also notified on my mobile, and on this stream only on the desktop, something like that. So personalization is king, and stream is the new consumption way of how you consume information, and some kind of magic hand, call it AI, artificial intelligence, or machine learning, whatever, that is basically helps you to sort out what's most important to you. Because today we need an umbrella, because the overload is huge, right, even inside of a company.
Yeah, it has to. You're right. I've had a discussion with people in the past have said that I had an argument with someone, a good friend, a couple of years back, that said, well, the problem we have is there's too much information that's being captured. And my response was like, it's not that we have too much information, it's that we have bad filters. That we need to get better about how we classify, organize, and filter the content that is out there. Because the volume of content, of data, is only increasing, and the amount that we are capturing as organizations is on the rise. And as you look at all the different content types now, it's not just about documents and it's the raw data, the transactional data, all of the conversations, all of the video, tying those things all together. I mean, all of that information that's out there, we need better ways of consuming that. And one of those ways is by personalization, letting me, the user, go in there and decide, here's what I need to see, what's most relevant to me on a, in real-time data, daily aggregate, weekly aggregate, monthly aggregate. Let me subscribe that and then see that within my stream, and then consume that through the most appropriate method. If I know that I'm here, like I would actually, this is a wish list item here, Michael, but like if my schedule knows that my primary way of consuming information while I'm here in the home office is via the desktop, that I get my alerts and the visibility is a certain way. If it knows that I'm on the road and that I'll either be on mobile or on my laptop, that by my schedule, it changes the way that it serves up the content to me. That would be really fascinating.
It's great. I mean, this is really, I call it helpful technology. It's not a gimmick. It's really something that understands what you do and doesn't disturb you. I mean, then maybe you will get only the really like information where you have to act, and maybe it has already prepared like answers or has driven in content saying like, okay, when you look at it and when you give me your 30 seconds, then you have everything to make a decision. You don't have to look after. And this is also another trend, Chris, like not really forcing the user to go into the search mode. This is too late. Basically, realize by the behavior, okay, he's looking, he's searching. So before he types something, just give him ideas so he then can search. Basically, the switching between I want to know to searching is fluid. It's nothing like, oh, now I need to click on the magnifying glass in order to say to the computer I want to search. No, right. This is the old story.
Yeah, and that's why Microsoft is changing their messaging, where they were talked about, back in 2014 when they launched Delve, where they're now talking about intelligent search and discovery. It's exactly that. It needs to be an integrated experience that is intelligent enough to understand the context of where you are, what you're doing, and then provide relevant help based on that style of activity. And that, you're right. I mean, that is the wave where we're going, whether you're online or offline. So even while obviously having the AI and the machine learning capability means that you are leveraging the scalability of the intranet out there, but there still can be similar algorithm-based activities, user experiences developed for on-premises user experience as well. So yeah, it's an exciting area to go in there. I think that the future of the modern intranet is around these customization and personalization of the streaming, of the consuming of information into that. And so organizations that are like just now rethinking their intranet strategies need to be thinking about like, what are the work activities? What is the right level of information to consume on a broader base? And how much of this should be personalized? And so that you're consuming the right information in the right way. And I know that leveraging solutions like KanBo that allows you to, there's a lot of customers that have intranets that are streaming, consuming KanBo information, through SharePoint web parts and through other, custom, solutions as well. There's a lot of customers doing interesting things with the data that's there.
But I mean, also through the bot. I mean,
right.
We've got this in the bot and in the bot in Teams, for example. Rather than you can say, I want to have how is it called? Okay, I forgot the element that you can hook into the channel that will stream information into it.
Oh, the connector.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So instead of a connector, which we also have the functionality in the bot saying like, please subscribe to a certain card and stream the stream of the card into this channel. And you can also subscribe to 2 or 3 cards, or you can even subscribe to a whole board. And this is basically another thing where you see the difference, the granularity of how many streams and how are they composed can be basically ordered by using the bot, saying like, please stream information of those 2 cards into this channel because people in this channel are listening to what is happening, and those 2 cards basically together cover the whole story. And not the whole board, not the 1 card, but 2 of them. So this is basically where we see the streaming and the customization of the streaming already a very important thing. Of course, now it's not so intelligent. You can only choose, by card or something like that. It's still more than the out of the box tool can. But as you said, like having personalized algorithm in there, and also maybe some trending topics that will somehow shift stuff higher than something other. That is something that we look into in the future, and we love to be the part of using the Microsoft stack, so we don't have to develop it alone, and it doesn't take us another year of our life. We can concentrate, on the cherry on top.
Well, it's great. I mean, Microsoft is investing in the right areas around that technology, and I know looking for partner solutions and how best to provide that more granular streaming experience for end users. And so there's a lot that's happening in this space. So I'm very excited about what we're going to see out of that. I know there's a lot more that's happening around with KanBo and with the KBot and with the connectors through Microsoft Teams. But for those that are not yet leveraging Microsoft Teams, but still have a SharePoint intranet and are looking at potentially using KanBo, that there are a number of different ways to stream that activity, that information into that intranet experience as well, so that you can develop a very personalized experience for your for teams, for broader organizations, or even company-wide out of those activities. So Michael, hey, thanks a lot for your time on this topic, and I know we're going to be hearing more. And for those that haven't yet seen a demonstration of KanBo, and especially we do have a webinar that we recorded together looking specifically at the Microsoft Teams integration. That it would be a great way to go and learn more about what you're doing on that side with the bots and connectors as well.
Yes. And one thing to add, we have also a version of a bot that works outside of Teams and can be also installed on-prem. So it's harder to teach, but it does a great job.
That's really cool stuff. All right. Well, Michael, hey, thanks a lot for your time, and we'll talk to you for the next one.
Chris, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.